Welcome to Real Flix Reviews. This is a show where we review everything from the silent movie by Mel Brooks to the latest, greatest, craptastic Will Ferrell movie. I'm Jonathan Charney, he's James Stevens.
Hello.
And the man in the lower left-hand corner, that proof that necrophilia is always an option, Ryan Preston.
Hey.
And because Ryan Preston is having some technical difficulties, we instead put up a picture of a monkey freaking out.
So
much apologies for everybody having to stare at Crazy Monkey.
And this week we did the James pick the movie I Come in Peace, also known internationally as Dark Angel. This movie was directed by Craig R. Baxley and is starring one of our most endearing movie stars, Dolph Lundgren.
Dolphster.
And James, would you like to introduce this movie?
All right. Well, this movie made in 1990. And it kind of shows it's 1990. But basically the plot summary of this one, you know, I didn't really like the plot summary on IMDb. I thought it was a little bit kind of cheesy.
It's like 3-4 words.
Well, no, actually, no, it's pretty long little essay this person wrote on it. Basically what this is it's the normal renegade cop who has his own version of the law to keep everything right and true in his own little world, running around, doing his own thing.
So it's like the
working
movie
on a drug sting. His partner gets killed because he goes to stop another crime. Everybody in that room gets slaughtered by this drug-dealing alien. And another alien shows up to kind of chase him, and they all go through some shenanigans. And
really? Shenanigans?
Yep,
that's the word you drag out?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
That was all homage to Ryan. Shenanigans.
Jeez.
Anyway, and that's basically where this movie goes, is, you know, kind of down that line of, you know, renegade cop trying to make everything right with the world. Now, that's basically the plot. There's been a bunch of movies about, like, renegade cop going on to his own little revenge scheme to make everything right.
One of my favorite genres.
Yeah, exactly. It's a total genre. So, I mean, I don't really put this movie so much in sci-fi as I do kind of cheesy action, which is why I picked it, because I thought this is one of those pinnacle cheesy action movies. Now, I didn't want to get into too much of the rating. I wanted to see kind of somebody who didn't really remember this movie all that well. I wanted to pass it off to Ryan for him to start off with what he actually thought about this movie.
Okay, well, to start off, like I said, I'm one of my favorite genres, just like kind of the buddy cop sort of thing. And this one, you get Dolph Lundgren, the Punisher, and then looks like Lord Raiden battling it out in a intergalactic drug war going on.
I was actually thinking he looked like one of the bastard children of Siegfried and Roy.
Ooh, that was good. I was really catching a Christopher Lambert vibe off of him for a second, maybe a little Highlander.
Okay.
But yeah, I could go with that. Yeah, Dolph Lundgren playing just this old detective. Like you said, he's got his own version of the rule book. Jack Kane, rule book 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Plays plays that cop that just, look, I've been doing this so long. I got my own way of doing shit. He's gone through 42 partners apparently, and he's going to be teamed up with another dude, Special Agent Smith, I believe it was, from the FBI.
It was Special Agent Andwood.
Yeah, something like that.
He was something weird. Oh, Arwood.
Allwood, there we go.
Arwood, that's right.
Whatever.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Played by this kid Brian Ben, who never really had much life after weird 80s
last
movies.
name. Horrible last name, though. Ben.
You know what's a horrible last name? Why it's a horrible last? He ended up actually having his own TV show called The Brian Ben Show.
Are you kidding me? Really?
Now, if your name was that and you had your own show, would you think of a clever name or would you use that one?
Well,
anyway, beside the point.
It's so unbelievable that you would think that it was made up. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right. From like 1998 to like 2000, I think I remember seeing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, this movie was just full of cross genre type of things. It had a lot of, I don't know, really random type of sci-fi things in it going on. It was a cross between a couple of different types of movies. I'm really losing my train of thought. I apologize.
Yeah, you are.
The aliens in this cracked me up. Like I said, the first one looked like Christopher Lambert on steroids. The second one looked like Michael Biehn from Terminator on steroids.
Wow.
Ooh.
Wow, good one.
Come with me if you want to live. Yeah. So, Dolph Lundgren and his new special agent partner, who plays everything by the book, which is also one of my favorite types of things in this type of buddy cop genre. No, this is the way we're supposed to be doing it. We gotta wait for backup. And then Dolph Lundgren shouts very loudly, "No time for backup."
Yeah.
I'm instantly a fan of stuff like that. So it's really hard for me to hate movies like this.
Well, don't forget. Well,
But then,
let's just say,
I'm
when
sorry.
he's doing that, the by the book partner somehow pulls out this humongous gun with a
44 mag, it
with
looked like.
yeah, with a rifle scope attached, and starts shooting a car behind him.
Yeah.
right
In
yeah.
traffic.
Oh yeah, in traffic, not necessarily paying attention to what's behind that car.
Or behind that car.
Right.
Yeah.
This movie is entirely full of cliches, but it's all the cliches that we've come to kind of like,
Yeah, exactly.
you know, from stuff like this, and then mixed in with some just god awful sci-fi shit. I mean, laughable kind of like.
Okay,
you
I
can
want to
tell,
bring
like,
into something. Now, you brought up a good fact that this was a buddy cop genre. There's tons of
Right.
these movies that are buddy cop genres. They're even still making them today. Thank you, Bruce Willis.
Yeah, it's buddy cop meets Mutt and Jeff. I mean,
Yeah, but this one,
Right. Oh,
the-
absolutely.
The thing I always appreciated about this one versus all the other buddy cops is this mixes in its own original a side plot along with the buddy cop. And that's this drug-dealing alien. And the creativity they came out with... Hold on. Let me finish my thought here. The creativity they came out with of pumping the person full of heroin and harvesting the endorphins. That's original, and that actually was kind of surprising in this movie. Because they took this whole genre and mixed into this whole other plot line. That I don't know if they wanted to make sequels out of this one, like, you know, Dolphy goes in space to go find these guys.
no, that has to be the third one if it's an 80s movie.
You know what I'm saying? And then they throw in kind of all these new weird types of weapons, like the flying blade. I love the flying blade.
The flying blade was interesting. The magnetic disc,
Yeah.
if you will. The guy's random little scorpion hand thing.
Well, that was
what I call the get over here spike.
Yeah, it is the get over here spike.
I always thought that was weird. I mean, they pumped those people through a lot of heroin. I would have thought they would have died before you got a chance to do anything.
Well, they did say they died of a heroin overdose.
Moment at the mouth.
Not the spike through the skull.
Uh,
Now, what did you think of that? I mean, you didn't
Okay.
get there. You were running rampant on the buddy cop and, you know, the kind of not
Okay,
really paying
check
attention
this
to
out,
surroundings.
guys. I got a great idea for a movie. It's drug dealers, but wait, from space.
All right, Bill.
That's how that went down. I guarantee it.
But you see what I'm saying, though? They totally took the buddy cop and then they threw in this kind of interesting. I mean, there was thought.
Yeah,
There was
it is
definite thought
interesting.
into it.
You're kind of seeing. I see your point. You're kind of seeing, you know, the mix of the two genres. You know, the what the fuck kind of attitude and wonderment of what the hell's going on from the buddy cop genre, looking at the sci-fi thing, and then the sci-fi crazy stuff kind of going on almost in spite of the A story of the buddy cop thing going on, and then they sort of meet at the end. Because the whole time I'm watching this buddy cop movie, and I'm almost forgetting about the alien shit that's going on until a guy ends up in the backseat of his car bleeding sour cream and cottage cheese. I'm like, oh, okay, this shit just got real. and I have to
This
kind of
shit
start paying
just
attention.
got real.
I'll agree with that, because that's the one thing I don't think the alien is in a lot of this movie.
No, he's really not. He's a sideline.
No,
That's what I'm
it's a
saying.
Real. I mean, if it's a B story, if anything else.
Yeah,
Or
it is.
almost a C story as opposed to a B story. I mean,
It seems it's more like a device just to move the story along, something that they can
Right.
go to the next scene and the next scene.
that's exactly what it was. It was really, really chock full of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, a couple things that were a little bit confusing to me in this movie, and I guess we really shouldn't pick this one apart on confusing, because, I mean, if you really look at this movie, you're going to find confusion everywhere. I mean, because this is one of the more holy plot lines, but that's actually what these movies are from this basic time period. If you look at the time period of movies from, like, beginning of the 80s all the way up to about 95, I mean, there was really no plot line in a lot of the action movies. None.
No, but I mean that's some of my favorite mindless action movies that I can think of.
Actually, you hit the nail on the head right there. You hit the nail right on the head. Mindless action movies. That's what they are.
Well, I think that's the purpose. I think instead of a lot of today's movies, I think the purpose was to blow crap up and have fun. I think it was really just about entertaining instead of trying to make a really good movie, which apparently Hollywood fails at consistently.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely.
I mean, I still want to know what the heck the ammo was in those guns.
Yeah, seriously. There is one thing I want to ask is when they're in that club in the first scene, you know, when his partner is killed.
Okay.
What's up with the kung fu roll? He does this half Jackie Chan monkey flip thing behind
it. Well, if you watched
table.
him quite a bit, you kind of noticed that he was throwing in a lot of, Van Damme moves going on in there.
Yeah, he had his Chuck Norris action pants on, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he totally did. And I mean, the thing about this is, I mean, Dolph Lundgren, you never look at Dolphy movies for action. You don't watch them for you watch them for action. You don't really watch them for acting. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I was going to say
Well,
I got it backwards. A little bit of dyslexia
that's the
there.
only thing that I watch Dolph Lundgren movies for is action.
He's a really smart guy. He really is. If you look him up, you can find out that he's like a total MIT grad. Has like a PhD.
Fulbright scholar, I think.
He's
a biomedical engineer, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, how great of an actor do you think Hawkins would be if he tried? I mean, so really smart
Well,
people.
what I'm trying to think is how bad of a scientist Dolph Lundgren would have been if he would have stuck in that field.
You never know. He might have done like an amazing job. He might have given Hawking a run for his money, But he decided to go action.
He might have accidentally cloned humans and crossbred them with monkeys and turned them all inside out, and
Oh, so they look like your picture then.
Pretty much. You should see that picture, man.
Anyway, the other thing is, you brought up that whole scene where he like bust into the whole, club after shooting a guy and knocking the other guy out in a liquor store robbery. Runs over there, and then this alien just slaughtered like 6 people.
6 very armed people.
Very armed people. And then he hears Dolph Lundgren coming and looks over and, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Are you scared of the Dolphster?
Yeah. Well, he probably saw Ryan's favorite movie, He-Man, so.
Oh, jeez.
Masters of the Universe. All right, let's get it right.
But anyway, I mean, this movie is definitely holy. It's definitely cheesy. But the reason why I wanted to put this out there for any of you viewers who may have not grown up in the same time period that John, Ryan, and I did, where there was tons of these movies out there. Another one that might go on my list is Big Trouble in Little China. These movies are like the pinnacle of cheesy action movies. They're funny.
Yeah. It's a one step up from a TV movie.
Exactly.
It's there for gratuitous action and very, very little plot. I loved the love interest with the coroner.
Oh,
that was
hilarious. Oh yeah, the one that just starts beating him up. And who really answers the door in a bathrobe and high heels, except for a woman that's a whore? Sorry.
I don't know. I'm sure it was a common thing back in like the Mad Men days or something like that.
Another thing is, why is it always Christmas in 80s action movies?
I don't know. I was kind of wondering the same thing. I mean, if you watch the old Bruce Willis, the Die Hards, it was like Christmas every time he did something.
Yeah, it always seems like that was the perfect time that some mean bad guy decides to do something.
I don't know. Weren't all the Home Alones around Christmas time?
Yeah, actually.
Yeah.
The only thing to kind of go back is little. I just have a hard time calling this sci-fi.
I don't think it's sci-fi. I don't put it in sci-fi. I think it's
no.
action.
I don't think the people who made this movie ever had. I don't think they ever saw a sci-fi movie. I think they might have just heard a couple of things about him and thought that it would be an interesting mix.
Well, here's my question. It does obviously have some sci-fi elements. I mean, it's very. I think the device to move the story along is the sci-fi part. Some alien.
Well, of course. I mean, there was really no other storyline. I mean, they couldn't really very well do all the Dirty Harry move-alongs. I mean,
so here's the question: what is the definition for us for Real Flix? What is considered sci-fi? Does it have to have sci-fi elements? Does it have to be completely sci-fi?
I think it needs to be futuristic or in space.
Not necessarily. There's things that sort of bridge the gap, out of the space genre in general.
Well, give me a example.
Let's see. Well, okay, I'm gonna actually I'll foreshadow my pick for next week because it's just a decent example. Being John Malkovich.
Why that's going to be considered sci-fi?
I would consider that a sci-fi movie.
How is that going to be considered sci-fi?
Science fiction. I mean, it's science fiction. It's something based in the kind of non-fantasy sort of like there's some. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to describe the genre in itself.
Not to cut you off, but I think what you're saying is it's not. Modern definition of science fiction is Star Trek, is anything that's set in the future. Sci-fi could be anything in modern time that involves some sort of scientific thing, like The Fly with Jeff Goldblum.
Okay, well,
absolutely, yeah.
I would consider The Fly, Hollow Man. I was even going to throw in like The Fifth Element.
Oh, I think I give that
that's futuristic sci-fi. Because that's not set on a different world. That's set here.
I think that's sci-fi fantasy. Yeah, I do.
Starship Troopers. Again, that's set here. They move out and go into space. I mean, same with Fifth Element, but I'm not going to consider something like this a futuristic sci-fi.
Would you be willing to call it? What about something that has loose sci-fi? Because this obviously has some sci-fi.
This is very loose sci-fi. I mean, very, very thin.
So it's an action movie with sci-fi elements, not a sci-fi movie with action elements.
Yes, exactly.
Right, no, definitely.
The baseline premise of this is more action. Then I would say it has to have more futuristic fantasy alien elements to it, overlying tones than the action tones. Does that make more sense? Ryan?
Yeah, definitely.
So, I mean, Being John Malkovich I would put that more in drama comedy.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a drama comedy. It's technically a sci-fi or sci-fi fantasy.
Yeah, I would say fantasy. I wouldn't say sci-fi because, I mean, sci-fi to me is more of like he's got like random aliens running around in his head. I don't want to get into any teasers.
Something that generally kind of takes place in the future or something like that or kind of it's.
So the robot Robin Williams movie, I can't think of the name of it.
Oh, Millennium Man or something like that.
You would consider that sci-fi instead of fantasy?
No, absolutely.
So,
I mean, it doesn't necessarily always have to take place in space.
I would say that's drama fantasy. Drama.
I don't know. See, I look at fantasy a lot more of like the
swords and sorcery type of thing.
Yeah, sword and sorcery, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so like the Sean Connery Dragon movie. I can't think of the name of it right now.
That's fantasy. Yeah, Dragonheart.
Yeah, fantasy.
Sure.
I would consider that fantasy. Yeah,
of course.
I wouldn't consider that sci-fi or anything. I mean, I would put that in the fantasy category.
Yeah, sci-fi. I think I would qualify it as somebody taking images of the future or something like that, and trying to sort of anything futuristic, whether it be. This is a really hard genre to break down.
How about anything that doesn't exist or we don't know about? For example, some sort of technology. You've got The Fly, Independence Day.
That's what I was going for. Some kind of of look into the future as far as whether it be technology or different worlds or something like that.
Because
something that doesn't exist that somebody's kind of making up for fictional purposes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So say like Independence
But
Day.
somehow
There's
based in reality.
like Independence Day. There's the aliens.
Right.
So okay, then I agree with that. Do you?
Ryan, you disappeared.
Did I what?
You went really quiet.
Oh,
You
sorry.
might want to bring your mic back up. Okay, I can see that. Because, I mean, this one, the genre on IMDb is action, crime, drama, horror, sci-fi, thriller.
I disagree with a lot of those, actually.
I would say this is action, crime, sci-fi.
Yeah.
I see no horror elements.
Well, it's
unless, I mean,
horrible.
the aliens looked really horrible.
It's an action movie that happens to have an alien or two in it.
Yeah. To kind of get more on the story, I always wonder what a lot of the 80s movies always have to have this scientist, that weird guy.
Oh, I liked him. He
I
was
thought
the
he was-
best actor in the whole movie.
I agree, but I just want to know, like,
The scientist, Ryan? The coffee-drinking scientist?
Yeah, that was
That was the best actor of the whole movie.
I remember that guy from something, and I can't
Yeah, I would
remember
have to pull it
exactly what
up.
it was. But yeah, the psycho, way strung out, inventing his own coffee scientist.
Yeah, Bruce the scientist.
yeah, his name was
Mark
Lowenthal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him. I mean, he was chasing down Speed with coffee. I mean,
Yeah.
and oddly enough, I actually really agree with James. I think he was the best actor in the entire movie because he fit the role, everything he was doing, even though the way his
Tales from the Crypt, Roseanne.
Yeah, I thought the guy did a really good job.
Yeah, he's got quite a large repertoire. He was in Sledgehammer, 21 Jump Street, Roseanne, Tales from the Crypt.
Well, shoot, I mean, those could qualify as, I mean, shoot,
Newsies.
everybody did those shows
Yeah.
back in the day.
Anyway.
Well, maybe not Sledgehammer, that was like a season and a half.
Anyway, yeah, he's a very interesting character. Like John said, as far as what he was going for, he hit it nail on the head.
Yeah, it was the one comic relief in the movie, that they really needed.
Yeah, I think, if trying to watch this as I would back in the 80s, I agree. I think this movie took itself a little too seriously at points.
It's certain parts, yeah.
I
but
think
then it sort of I think it you kind of get yourself out of the mindset of like, oh, is this movie taking itself seriously or is it not? And then you see the real cliche stuff, like the police chief yelling at Dolph Lundgren for being a reckless asshole.
Yeah, you're gonna
giving him
go
a
through
new
another partner. Yeah.
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 The other part I thought was kind of very one-dimensional in this movie was the FBI presence, not his new partner, but there's another very weird side plot about what the FBI is trying to protect the bad guy.
Yeah. That whole thing where they were supposedly taking the weapons and stashing them, and
yeah. I didn't get the point of that. I didn't think it moved this story at all. I thought the only reason it was there was to try to give credence to the special agent Arwood.
Yeah, that was the only thing that I saw for it too. I mean, just basically moving the plot along on him, just kind of saying.
Well, I think it was
being betrayed.
It was a payoff for the whole, I'm going to teach you how to do things not by the book, and you're a by the book, and this is this is my way of doing things, the no time for backup way, and I think it was sort of a payoff to that that story.
Dolph Lundgren through the whole, especially when that he met Arwood, his comment was, "How do you do things?" The guy said, "By the book." And the Arwood guy had asked Detective Jack Kane, "How do you do stuff?" And he said, "With by gut."
Right, by instinct.
Yeah, instinct.
Yeah, by
so I
instinct.
think that was really, I think that was the payoff for saying that you can't always depend on the book. I mean, the atypical 80s, Die Hard.
Yeah.
No time for backup.
Yeah, philosophy. And just some of the things in this weird, to pick out things that I thought was weird was, as James pointed out, they were in the crime scene of the bar, and the cops were going to the bathroom.
Oh yeah, going to the bathroom and smoking.
Yeah. Yeah, back in the days when you could smoke in a crime scene.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting to me. I'm just like, really, you're going to contaminate the crime scene by taking a piss in the bathroom?
You know what? That's why these movies are so much fucking fun to me, though. Is just
you watch them once and you're like, wow, what the hell is going on here? You watch it again and you almost love picking out those little moments like, is this guy doing this?
Yeah.
Is this guy doing that? Why is he bleeding sour cream?
It's like the one thing that was really obvious is he kept switching guns. In one cut, he'd have like a Beretta 92F, and the next cut, the same spot, he'd have a completely different gun.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, you would think that the guy whoever did the propping for that would notice that, hey, we used insert gun here instead of...
Well, I bet you Dolph was having a little bit of fun, just like grabbing random guns.
Totally. But it's not as bad as...
I think he never minds what gun. He's just somebody give me a gun.
Yeah.
I loved the Aliens gun. I was trying to figure out if it was the world's smallest grenade launcher or just really, really powerful incendiary rounds.
Well, I did.
Oh, the guns. You mean?
I wish I wrote it down. I found a website.
M950.
Yeah, something like that. There's a website I found. It's like, you know how there's IMDb. This one's basically it's a website for all movie guns.
Ooh, nice.
I'll forward you the link.
And that gun was actually used first by Sylvester Stallone in one of his movies.
Yeah, and this one's a real gun, but it was modified with a shorter barrel, some plastic shrouding.
Yeah. Now, okay, was it me or did you guys kind of find it interesting that both aliens had the same type of gun?
I was wondering that too.
You know, I mean,
it's the black market, intergalactic black market. What do you expect?
Well, one of them was a cop.
One of them was a cop.
Well, where do you think criminals around here get a lot of their guns from?
I understand that, but I mean, the bad alien has this flying blade weapon, and then he's also got a backup exploding round gun. Yeah, and I was thinking they were incendiary rounds with plastic explosive in the bullet.
Yeah.
So that when it goes on contact, it explodes.
Okay, kind of.
And then how do you have a gun like that and then suck so bad at aiming? You know what I mean?
know.
Well, because it had so much kick, he couldn't hold it right to shoot it.
He went to the school of bad guys.
Yeah, well, it's just like Dolph Lundgren. In one scene, he's holding his gun with one hand while gripping his forearm. Not the gun.
Oh, man, I hate that.
Not standard shooting. If you actually learn to shoot, one of the ways they teach you to shoot, you hold the gun like this.
You grip your other hand. You squeeze it into yourself, and you don't.
And that's what you push.
You're not
and
steadying
you
shit by holding your wrist.
Yeah, so he's going that or going one-handed cowboy style, and it's just like, seriously, dude? It's just, that's one of the reasons I love 80s movies, because the way they do guns, like the unlimited cheat. You know how they never change magazines, never rack the slide.
Right, until it's prudent into the plot. Like oh, we only need one clear shot. Oh, you're out of ammo. I don't know if you noticed.
Exactly.
You're out of ammo.
Yeah, well, he would have been out of ammo 17 frames ago.
Right.
The other thing I was going to mention that I was talking to James about is when the bad guys were breaking into the police vault to get the heroin. How did they get all that heroin into that little briefcase?
Yeah, that was a lot of H.
Well, now my little catch on the flaw of that one is that the bags that he grabbed inside the evidence vault were smaller than the bags that were actually in the briefcase when they delivered them.
I know.
Did you catch that one? That was an interesting
I just love the guy that picked up the bag and smelled it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy, you're that good.
Heck yeah, man. He's a drug-sniffing guy. That smells like good H to me.
Wow.
Sorry, dude. I was rubbing that all over my ass.
Ooh, I could have done without that.
Yeah, and did the alien have a heroin tracker or what?
Yeah, he keeps showing up at the white boys.
Yeah, he kept showing up where all the heroin was.
I love his little quarterback wrist protector thing with all of his drugs in it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. His little fanny pack.
Yeah.
His little fanny drug pack.
Sorry for all you South Africans out there.
Yeah.
Overall, I liked the movie. I mean, I'm a sucker for an entertaining movie, no matter what it is.
Right.
And since this is 80s, I think it's a little closer to my heart.
It's 1990.
It's 89.
Get
90.
it right.
Well, here's the thing. It's made in 1990, but it's so close to the 80s that it has an 80s feel.
Well,
nobody knew what the 90s was gonna bring yet. That 1990 is still the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, it's just movie-wise.
Well, okay, if it makes you guys feel any better, the movie was probably filmed in 89.
Sure, but I'm saying,
and then it was released in
1990.
Influence
of the 80s and none of the influence of the 90s yet. That movie is an 80s movie.
I'll let
Excuse
you
me.
have it. You're right. I let you guys have that one. I thought it was an 88, 89 when I picked it, and then I looked it up. And
Hey, you'd think so.
Yeah.
From the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Overall, I give this movie a 3. I enjoy the movie. It's not worth a 4, or even it'll never get a 5, not from me at least.
Absolutely not.
I enjoy the movie because it has, just for at least the entertainment value, and for me, movies at least have to be entertaining, is it has action scenes, has some really bad dubbing that you can laugh about.
Oh, absolutely.
Random crap being blown up, and it has Dolph Lundgren. I mean, if you like bad movies, Dolph Lundgren has done a lot, but most of his movies don't take themselves too seriously.
Yeah, that's true. And they shouldn't.
And this movie, I don't think it was just about really having fun. At least that's what it seemed to me. So overall, I give this movie a 3. What about yourself, James, since this was your pick for this
Well,
week?
even though this is my pick, it only does get a 2. And
Mr. Mean.
I know. Hey, it was my pick, man. Let me have it.
Well, hold on. To kind of preference this, James was really excited when he got here this morning to you ready to watch this movie? It's like, let's go.
And there's a reason why I was excited, because this is what I wanted to do with this show.
But
really was. Hold on, let me finish my thought here. This is a bad movie, okay? There's poor acting, there's poor plot summary, there's really nothing to like about this movie, except the fact that, like Ryan said, it's a no-brainer. Sit back, relax, and just enjoy the laughability of this movie. That's what this movie is a pinnacle of. That's what this movie really demonstrates. And that's why I picked this movie, is because this is what I wanted to do with the show. I want to get the viewers to get out there and to watch movies that they normally would never decide to watch. And this is one of those movies that a lot of people out there probably wouldn't even give a second thought. They're going through the movie store, they see something like The Dark Angel, they pick it up, they look at it, they read it, and then put it back on the shelf. I want people to be willing to step out of their comfort zone and watch a movie like this. Get over yourself, sit back, and enjoy it.
I love the fact he was so excited about it.
Despite all of that, I can't give this movie a high rating because of the fact of how bad it is. So I'm going to be honest. I picked this movie. I was excited to get on here and rate this movie and discuss it, but it only gets a 2. That's my thing. I enjoy it.
Okay.
It's one of those movies that I will always say, hey, watch this movie. Get over yourself. Enjoy a crappy movie.
Yeah, see, I'll agree with that. I mean, everybody has these movies that are obviously bad, but you really enjoy them.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why
Masters
I put
of
this
the
movie.
Universe. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, and unfortunately, I think I'm worse. I happen to really enjoy the first Beastmaster.
All right.
What about yourself, Ryan? What's your rating?
I agree with James. I love watching movies that kind of pull you out of the stuff that you usually watch. If you only watch the stuff that you're into, you're never really gonna kind of expand. You're never gonna know what's good or what's not if you've never seen anything bad. So you almost have to be able to take the bad with the good.
Exactly.
And I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive, like, hey, watch a bad movie every now and again. But this is one of those types of movies that people. Like the hipster people make parties out of. They'll invite 20 people to their house and say, hey, we're going to watch a really shitty movie.
Yeah.
And you got, two schools of thought of it. The stupid people are going to sit there and look at the bright colors and the action and think this is kind of cool. And then they're going to wonder why all the smart people are laughing at it so damn much. Because it's a comedy of a serious movie. You know what I mean? But it was almost self-aware enough to where it was kind of a tip of the hat to a couple of genres.
Yeah.
It had a lot of the really obligatory lines, like the no time for backup kind of things. There's absolutely no way I can give this any more than a 2, just because it's a bad movie. But that doesn't mean that I don't like watching bad movies.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'd like that to be very, very clear. Just because I would not sit here and try to defend it as a piece of good cinema doesn't mean that I don't like the shit out of this type of stuff.
That is, I mean, that's something I think Ryan, James, and I both incredibly agree on. It's just we all love movies, and it doesn't matter.
And I like weird stuff and out there things and like I'm into the character studies, the real simple stuff too. But this is the kind of things that for mindless entertainment you almost can't get any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the one thing that really irks me about some of these award shows is they pick movies that they're great cinematography, but do I think they should win? No, because there's a lot more movies that I enjoyed a lot more that were honestly deserve the award more, just because bad movies on some of them they actually make you think, going, wow, this got approved. You deserve an award just for getting bad movies passed.
Yeah, seriously. Just for getting this made, you deserve a Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah, I mean, whoever decided to let Jack and Jill get made should definitely win an Emmy.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I mean, shoot, that's just again, the bankability of Stupid People is really unrivaled. That's people see familiar and they immediately jump right on top of it. And it's not a good thing. If you only look at what's familiar, if you only listen to music that's familiar, you're never going to be able to expand your repertoire. I'm sorry to use that douchebaggy word. You're never going to expand your mind on these types of things. You have to be able to get out and listen to things that might not be what you normally do, just so you, even if it's only to appreciate the things that you actually like.
Yeah, the one thing I've been telling a lot of people is, because out of the three of us, I've probably seen the worst of the worst movies.
Yeah, you watch stuff that even I don't want to see.
I watch movies that would probably make Ryan and John cringe at just me saying what movies I've seen. And that's kind of saying something, because Ryan and I used to have a little thing of, like, who's seen worst movies.
Right, yeah, and I think at a certain point I definitely had to concede the title.
You tipped your hat to me. And my belief in that is you have to go through a lot of shit to find gold. You really do. I mean, you really do. You have to dig through a lot of different things to find movies that would be considered gold. And,
well, you and I used to go and track down just a bunch of movies, just kind of standing at the video store, walking down the aisles, and you read the back of a movie, you'd think it sounded interesting, you take it home. Yeah. That doesn't mean it's going to be interesting.
No, and it doesn't, and it certainly does not mean that you're going to find good actors, good plot line.
Not, but you see a couple of character actors in something that you want to see, it might tip you towards renting it or getting it or something like that, or downloading it. You take it home and it's terrible, but then you find something that you haven't seen that's good, and you just it's the diamonds in the rough, that you have to search for.
So next week is your pick, Ryan. What's your pick going to be? I mean, you already said it, but I want to reiterate.
I already said it, but I want to preface it a little bit, because I love weird movies. I love strange takes on things. You obviously didn't like my super pick. Fuck you guys. But no,
I never said I disliked
love strange.
I hated it.
I love strange movies. Independent type of stuff. The weird cult things. Are the ones that I really end up liking after a while. So Being John Malkovich is definitely falling in the genre of bizarre and surreal, almost absurdist to certain people. James, have you seen this movie yet?
Yes, I have. I watched it when it came out.
I, however, have not. So this is going to be my first time seeing it.
I haven't watched it since it came out.
I'm looking forward to hearing a fresh opinion on it, because I was a fan of this movie maybe about the second time that I saw it, but it was one of those that after I saw it the second time, it was like, why didn't I instantly love this movie? It's just kind of a brilliant little story with a couple of just really, really out there ideas.
Well, there could be
really out there ideas.
Well,
but then the characters are completely amazing, and just the concept alone is really, really worth checking this out. So I'm really interested to see what you guys have to say about it.
Okay.
Well, it could be just to kind of wrap it up here. It could be one of those movies that I've watched. The first time you see it, didn't like it. It takes a couple of times, but by the third or fourth viewing, you're like, I've got to buy this movie.
Right. No, absolutely. And just to give you and everybody out there kind of a quick little thing. It's basically a guy finds a way to become John Malkovich, the actor, for about 15 minutes at a time. And I'll leave it at that, just as an intrigue, because there's a lot of... Oh, it is. But if that doesn't make you want to see the damn movie, I don't know what will.
So, I gave it a 3. James and Ryan both gave it a 2. And for Jonathan Charney, James Stevens, and Ryan Necrophilia Preston, see you next week.
Jesus, hope my mom doesn't watch this.
This episode of Old Guy Tech TV is brought to you by Ward's Automotive, specializing in Banks Power and Pack Brake, servicing your car or truck and specializing in diesel engines. Over 30 years of service, located in Diamond Springs, California. Give them a call at 530-626-5588.